in the other night, Sunday.
There was somebody that was going to sell the, there was that fire pole.
All right. It being 7 o'clock on Thursday, May 4th, call the meeting of the Webster Finance Committee to order. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to hold off on the Town Administrator Monthly Report. Doug is going to be a little late tonight. He had another commitment, but he should be here within a half hour. So we'll move on. We went over the budget at the budget hearing last week, the public hearing, but we didn't vote on the balanced budget that was submitted. So I'd like a motion to accept the budget, the balanced budget that was presented last week.
I'll make a motion to accept the budget that was presented last week.
Second.
Any discussion?
The chair, I wasn't here, sorry.
Yeah.
Was the balanced budget, was the balanced budget given to the committee?
The
figures?
budget, yes, it was.
The balanced budget?
Yes.
Oh.
It's also on the town website.
Then I emailed Doug and he said he was gonna have it Monday and send me a copy, but I didn't get anything.
Oh, okay, we can get you a copy, but,
It's not,
I printed it today.
it's on the website?
yeah,
Well, on the website.
It is on the
it
website,
is on the
yes.
website, yes. It's updated, balanced.
I neglected to go to the website. Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the budget?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the articles for the annual town meeting and special town meeting on May 8th. Mr. Avlis, does anyone mind jumping around? We can go right to that article, which is the annual town meeting, Article 9.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this board has voted to pass over for information, right?
Right, and he's providing more information now.
No, but this is gonna be brought on a town meeting floor.
It
We're
will
gonna
be
get up
approved.
on the
More
town
information.
meeting floor.
What's that?
We're gonna make our statement at the town meeting floor that we've received more information in our recommendation.
Well, okay, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
this board didn't take a vote to pass over for more information, so unless you withdraw it,
We didn't actually make a motion. We went through the articles.
well, motion made by Mike Funemos through the chair, and seconded by Sarah Sampson to pass over Article 9 for more information, vote unanimous, motion carried.
Yes, yeah, okay. All right. So Ted, would you like to go through this with us?
Sure. The motion, the article that we have presented on behalf of the school department, as you know, is to complete the renovation project at Bartlett High School, so we can move our administration offices from the Filmer building over to a wing of the high school. It was back in 2014 that we received approval, unanimous approval really, from the town meeting to proceed with the renovation. We had a budget prepared at that time and proceeded with the project. As you can see, as we went through the project, it became clearer that the original budgeted funding was not going to be enough to complete what we would like to do to move into that facility. So we have worked out a projected budget to finish our project. It is contingent upon us working with our Bay Path vocational students for the remainder of this year and into the fall as well. And hopefully, we're looking at completion in December. The perfect time for us to move would probably be over the holiday break and be in the new renovated space for the first of the new year.
Mr. Atlas, what is the school, what is Bay Path actually going to, the scope of their work?
The scope of their work, they have, I could probably go through the list here. They've got finished carpentry left to do. Their carpentry division actually just delivered some counters and tops that we'll be using. They're going to be doing the counters in the entryway where visitors will check in. They will also be doing all the countertops in the break room as they put in all of the plumbing and the sinks and all of that. And I think they're going to be doing some cabinetry. We're checking with them in the supply room. We haven't really finalized that, but that'll really depend on how much time they have to do that. But that's not critical to us moving in. They also have plumbing left to do. All the rough plumbing they've done. Did a terrific job. It was quite a task. Now their next step would be to put in all of the fixtures. So you're talking sinks and toilets and urinals and all the things that go in the bathrooms, and then all of the kitchen facilities as well. They have, as far as doors go, they'll be installing all the doors and tending to the hardware. So they'll be providing all of the maintenance for that effort. They are, as far as the drywall goes, I wasn't able to get there today, but supposedly they were going to start painting. We have 18,000 square feet of drywall that was put up as part of a bid package. They, as you know, were not able to do the drywall for us as originally planned, but that was okay. They have agreed to the painting, and that's a great step for us. So they'll be, I believe they started today. If not, it should be very soon. The acoustical tile ceilings, they'll be installing all of those. That's typically done later on in the project when you've got all your electrical done, and they still do have some electrical left to do as well. We've got to run, they've got all the conduits in. Now they just need to run the wiring, the data wiring, and all of those to the receptacles and all of the data points, and put those in as well. So they still got quite a bit of work left to do. They've got the lighting, the acoustical tile ceilings also include the lighting. They'll be installing the lights in those ceilings as well. They're trying to do as much as they can, obviously, before school's out, but it's a tough time of year with testing. And of course, they'll be losing their seniors shortly. And then it'll just be the juniors. And they will bring some sophomores over. They typically, sophomores don't work on these type of outside projects, but I think they like to get them used to going outside and doing the work. And I think for the last couple of weeks of the school year, they'll probably see some sophomores out there as well as they start to get their training in for these types of projects. That's about the bulk. So it's still quite a bit, and that's why, you know, they informed us in January that, you know, wasn't gonna be completed by the end of the school year as we had hoped, but, you know, again, we're not in a situation where we can't be patient with them. You know, it's not like we're being, we don't have a space to live right now. We do. But we certainly want to move as fast as possible and work with the Fillmore building, work with the town administrator for that process as well.
So, going over the lines here,
Yep.
the supervisory and labor has gone up 10,000?
Well, we have to keep our clerk on now through December. That we weren't anticipating that. You know, he works for a very nominal fee, and he's a great guy, a graduate of Bartlett, class of '65, you know, retired gentleman who's been awesome for us, and you know, has worked, I'm sure, many more hours than he probably has recorded. But you know, we are going to need those funds. We want to keep him on board through the rest of the project, and he'd like to stay as well, so we want him there.
What are these highlighted numbers?
The highlighted are probably the estimates,
Oh, okay.
such as the finished carpentry. We're not quite sure yet. You know, Bay Path is doing all of that carpentry work. Obviously, we're buying the materials, but we haven't been provided just yet with the cost of that. And then there are some other materials as well, once they're done, that we need to purchase, like restroom stalls, dividers, and things like that. So those are estimates. The hardware, I did get a quote. That's actually an initial quote for the hardware, which was quite shocking, to say the least. So I'm going to be working diligently with that, and the doors as well. It's the doors and the hardware right now that are left, as most of the windows and glass are already been installed or in the process of being installed. But those are items that I'm going to continue to
Seek alternatives.
see if I can get
Through the
better
chair.
pricing on that.
Mr. Abels, what do you consider hardware?
Hardware,
Are you-
those are all the things that you have to attach to the doors.
This is all the door
All the
hardware?
door hardware, the handles for the, you know, most of the
Cabinetry hardware.
interior doors, the cabinetry, but it's mainly the
Drawers.
doors, because our school committee room is gonna be in there. There are requirements for safety and evacuation, so you need those crash bars on some of those doors as you exit the building or exit the facility, and that stuff is incredibly expensive.
Through the chair. We first asked for $854,800 at the town meeting. As I recall, we did not have any, other than that one amount, we did not have any floor plan, no estimates of anything. But we voted it, and you said it was unanimous. But I just want to make a point, Mr. Atlas. Nothing was given to the people in the audience to say how many square feet, what it's going to cost, da-da-da. And in fact, this proves that somebody did not really go out and do their homework, quite frankly. 15% over. 15% over.
Well, it's.
Plus,
Yep.
plus, it's taken us 2 years. Did are we gonna learn a lesson that maybe we shouldn't use somebody like Bay Path? Because of the restrictions of time and whatever? I mean, how much did they really save us? I'm not asking you for the figure today, but,
Well, I could
how
tell you
much
what the
money,
initial figure.
how much money is gonna be asked in that article, Mr. Ellis?
Well, I'll get to that point, but just to answer some of your questions, I would use Bay Path again. I think, you know, number one, it's a great experience for the kids, and there are Webster students that are involved with that project. So we're very happy to be patient with them, as, you know, it's a learning experience, it's a teaching experience, and you know, they do go slowly, because they're very meticulous in what they do. But what they do is tremendous work. And so it's very worthwhile. I can tell you that the $854,000 initial budget, when I got that approved and gave it to the architect, because then we had to go out to bid and get an architect and a designer, they came back with a proposal that would have, based off that $854,000, would have cost us, if we priced the project out and went with professionals in doing it, and it was over $1.5 million. And so, and as you can see, with some of these items that were bid out, that ended up being higher than what we anticipated, I wouldn't hesitate to say that this would be close to a $2 million project if we'd have bid it out.
Through the chair, you said you have from the architect how much it would cost. Can we get a copy of that?
From 3 years ago?
Yes, please. Yes, please, because that was not presented on the town meeting floor, that if we didn't...
Well, we didn't have it at town meeting floor, Mr. Barisic. What we had was the estimate that was done. We hired an architect to do a study to say, what would you do with this space, and how much could you cost it out? And so that was part of the preliminary proposal to price out the project. We then gave it to another architect as backup, who then increased the amounts in some of these items. I can tell you, like, the original HVAC item was probably $175,000. We raised it by $50,000 more, thinking that we would be safe. And as you can see, it came in even much higher than that. So it was looked at by two different professionals when we proposed the amount back in 2014.
Through the chair, on the HVAC, is the school air-conditioned, the entire school?
No,
So your section's gonna be air-conditioned, but not the school?
not the whole school is not air-conditioned, no.
No, but your square footage, how many square feet again?
It's about 7,600 square feet.
The administrative offices will be air-conditioned, but not the school, correct?
The whole school is not
That
air-conditioned.
isn't what I'm asking. I said your offices will be air-conditioned, but the school won't.
The school is air-conditioned.
Totally?
No, not totally. How many times do I have to say it? It's
Okay.
not
That's enough,
totally.
that's enough.
What
Thank you.
percentage do you figure
Thank
is
you.
air-conditioned?
Is air-conditioned. The administrative wing and offices are air-conditioned.
Currently, the current?
Yes. And the rooms that don't have windows, they're interior rooms, those are air-conditioned as well. Those are typically rooms we use in the summer for summer school and other types of programs we do during the summer. That's about it. Those two areas, I think, which we would consider B-wing, which is the middle section of the three-wing school.
What doesn't settle with me is having a person two people gave you some estimates?
Yes.
To have
Well, one
the,
gave me an estimate, and then I let the other one review it, because I wanted to make sure that,
Yeah.
we were comfortable.
so like the plumbing, I
Yeah.
mean, going from $11,000 to $27,000 tells me somebody you add that to the drywall and the flooring, all these basics, when you know a design, how to be so far off, it makes one wonder. It really does.
Well,
And I think that's what's irking. Did scope change, or did people give you really bad numbers?
I'm guessing they gave numbers that would have been relevant.
No.
And they thought that could have been completed. I mean, you can't look at the drywall in that, because that was estimated to be completed by the vocational school. And then we had to bid that out, so that was.
No, I understand,
Yeah.
but still, the other components, the floor, the plumbing, all that, leads one to believe that either the scope of the project changed, or somebody gave very, very inaccurate numbers.
Well, I won't disagree, but, you know, budgeting, as you know, for projects like this is really a crapshoot, and you're at the mercy of putting these out to public bid and taking the lowest bidder in most cases.
Right, but
Jim,
obviously, yes.
These people that you originally got the estimates for, are they professionals?
Yes,
They do this for a living,
they're architects.
and they're this far off?
Well, again, you have to remember that they were anticipating the work that was gonna be done by students and what was gonna have to be bid out. And so, you know, they were juggling that, obviously, and trying to come up
We're
with a
kind of
fair
getting the
number.
impression that the only thing that the Bay Path was not going to be able to do is the drywall.
No, that's not true. We had them also listed for the masonry, not all of it, but for a good part of that. See the metal studs, the ceiling. The painting, we actually didn't have them doing, so we saved money there. The plumbing is basically, the plumbing is the cost of the materials. I mean, we didn't hire a plumber at all. So, I mean, that's
That's what
a
I'm
true
saying, yeah.
figure.
But they quoted $11,000.
Well, that's what they had.
That's really what
I know.
makes you shake your head.
Through the chair, one last thing. I agree with you, Mr. Chairman. Some of these figures are unrealistic from the get-go. Secondly, I didn't want to insinuate that Bay Path was not a good neighbor of ours and a helpful neighbor, because they are. But they also go out and do one house a year also.
Yep.
So that's the same labor, right? Same labor people?
Roughly, yeah.
Okay, so there can't be two, excuse me,
Yeah.
there can't be two places at one time. And
For
they're
the
gonna
most
schedule-
part, for the
and they're
most
gonna
part.
schedule for that house also,
Yes.
wherever they're building it, in one
Yep.
of the 10 towns, correct?
Yep.
So they're splitting, they're 1 week in school and 1 week on the job,
I think it's 2 and 2.
regardless. They still can't be two places at one time.
But they can offset each other too. I mean, if, you know, you don't need all the carpenters there if you're putting in the electrical and vice versa. So they've been able to bring different departments to the site, as well as the house site, you know, at different times, depending on where they are with their projects. I mean, they want to keep these students active, so they're obviously on job sites while their 2-week period is happening.
Yeah, every year they contract out for a house.
Yes, they
You
do.
bid for it, you know that personally, right?
Yep.
My question still remains, what is the amount of money for Article 9 gonna be requested?
Well, the number you see there is what I presented to the school committee, the 139, 563, 62. So that was the amount that I presented. The school committee wanted to increase that. They figured if we were going to go back and complete the project, that they would like to put back a couple of the items here, such as the entranceway and the site work, and any, you know, maybe just have a few dollars set aside for any other small items that might come up and typically do as you're finishing a project. So they had requested that be increased by another $40,000. So that would be the 15 for the entrances and the 25 for the site work. I told them that, you know, I was, you know, more concerned about the getting inside the space, because that's what I want to do. I want to finish the project. I want to get inside the space, and I want to vacate Fillmore. You know, those other items I don't particularly need to move in. And I didn't want to put a number before town meeting that would jeopardize it getting passed. We know we need this to get passed. We want to finish the project. We still think it's a great project. At 2 million, we have to understand that, we're vacating a building that obviously needs more than $2 million worth of work. And it still would be inadequate for our needs. So, as you recall at town meeting, our goal was, and still is, to vacate Filmer and put it on the market. It's a very attractive piece of property. It should, I think, really show some interest, I think, financially for someone who's looking to buy property on East Main Street for whatever reason, and put it back on the tax roll. So instead of being, being dependent on taxes to support it, it would now be a contributor to the taxes, which also would help pay for, the cost of moving out of there. So I still think at $2 million, this would have been the right thing to do. It would have been a very good project at $2 million. It would have been a very good project at $1.5 million, as it was back then. It's a great project, as far as I'm concerned, at $1 million.
I think the issue is that coming back a second time, it's like any case. When you ask somebody for money, and then they're almost held hostage at that point. What do you do? Let it sit and rot? Or do you come back? I go back to the paving at Bartlett. Came back a second year. Yeah, there was signs, but there was still some paving to be finished. That's twice now. That you've come back.
No, I understand, but that wasn't that.
Well, I'm just saying.
I understand where you're coming from,
together.
Mr. Cabot. I really do. But you have to understand that. I mean, the paving is we were using, and what I would have preferred to have used here, which would have been free cash, as opposed to having to go out to borrow. I mean, that's what free cash is for, as far as I'm concerned, is to take care of capital projects. Mm-hmm. Those projects that come up during the course of the year, and you want to take care of. So I was trying to work. When I put $40,000 for paving one year, that's because that's what was available. And then came back the next year and said, if there's $40,000 available, I'd like to complete the paving. There was. It wasn't necessary, but it was a good project to do. And we did it with, the right funding, which I thought would be free cash. And my goal all along here was to use free cash for a capital project. That's always the goal. But in this case, it's just not available. And so we will, obviously bring a motion to the town meeting floor to borrow the remaining money to complete it.
And now what worries is that you took out some things like the furnishings and fixtures and other line items to make this number. So if you were to add those numbers back in, you'd be well over $1 million.
We'd be, if we wanted to put furniture back in.
So and window dressings, and I don't know how you're going to get around that. It gets sunny in the afternoon, shades,
well,
furnishings,
we did put in
desks,
we did put some glass in that would be, has a like a tint to it.
Yeah,
so
I know,
it doesn't really affect us that much. And you frankly could get away without any window treatments at all. We'll move in and work with it as we go along.
And how would that be? But out of school funds?
Well,
or-
we have to come out of school funds, yeah.
Mr. Chair, if you're gonna ask for another 40, how many, 40,000?
That was, the recommendation by the school committee was to add 40. And, I explained to them my reasoning for only asking for the 139, which they didn't disagree with. And it was left that I actually was going to approach the finance committee and present them with that number for their consideration and for their approval. Right now, the school department is looking to see if the finance committee would like to add the 40 to the number and approve that number. And if not, we would certainly, appreciate a vote and approval for the 139 number.
let's-
So we'll all be in agreement. You know, the Board of Selectmen have already approved the article. The town administrator is totally in favor of the article. The school department's in favor of the article. So right now,
Excuse me,
the
sir.
only ones that we're missing are the FinCom, and we certainly would like to go in with a united front, as we typically do with our financial article.
We just want the numbers to make sense, and you said they added 40,000. If I add the furnishings and the entrance, that comes to 65,000.
No, I'm sorry, the furnishings, I'm sorry, the entrance and the site work.
That's the exterior?
Yeah, that would be work that we would need to do. I mean, we're in the back of the building where the loading dock is.
So that's what they wanted to put in.
That's what they wanted to do. The site work, and just to be fair, the site work probably won't come to 25,000, because I've already contacted DPW to see how much they could assist us with some of that. But, you know, there is still gonna be, supplies and other types of things that we wanna do there. We wanna put up some fencing. We wanna kinda separate, the administrative wing and entrance from the loading dock. So we're trying to do some work there. And then again, hopefully leave us, some funds left over for those minor things that always pop up at the end of a project.
Mr. Chair, I wasn't finished. May I? If you ask for the 40,000, you're now gonna go from 15% to 20% over the original request back at town meeting, which is now gonna be over $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about film school versus the administration thing here, you're talking apples and oranges, unfortunately, okay? What we get for that piece of property is what market's going to tell us we're going to get, okay?
Pretty much like the bids that we do here.
Well-
Correct.
When we built the school up there, okay,
Mm-hmm.
were we on budget? Park Ave?
We were below budget.
Okay. Somebody had some correct figures up front, not like this.
Well, I mean, I think we were all quite surprised. I don't want to get back on the Park Ave thing, but, we projected that out at 35 million plus. And most of the bids came in at 35 million. Some came in higher. Fortunately, we had one that came in at 32,
So
31 and a half.
unfortunately, yeah. Unfortunately, Doug's not here right now.
Yeah.
But has he talked to you about how we're going to, how he's planning on financing this?
It's going to be borrowed,
Borrowing?
yeah. It'll be tacked on to the amount that
Yeah.
they're borrowing for the initial.
Through the chair, I just want to understand the process. You meet with an architect and you get estimated figures, and
Mhm.
then you bid it out, and those become the actual figures.
Correct.
Okay. And the selectmen and Doug, the town administrator, when they approved the article, did they have figures, or did they just approve the article because the job needed to be finished?
I'm
Yes.
sorry, with the.
Did they have a dollar amount when they approved the
article.
article?
The Board of Selectmen?
Yes.
They did not have this amount, no, they didn't have an exact amount. I had discussed with Doug what I thought the number was gonna be, and I was waiting for some final numbers to come in. But Doug had mentioned to them, if I recall, and you can confirm that with him. I know that he mentioned that it was gonna be over $100,000. I recall that being, passed on to the Board of Selectmen.
Any other discussion?
Through the chair,
Yep.
I got about 3 more questions. Okay, friendly questions. In this new request is it anything in this thing more than what the original concept of this building was gonna be?
No, it's the same.
It's the
space
same.
and the same offices, yeah, basically. Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay. Second question. You gonna have handouts at the town meeting
We can hand these out.
to the residents?
Sure.
So
I mean,
the-
it's public information now.
Well, I understand that, but the public has no access to this thing. I mean, I just tried looking on the school department's website, I cannot find this, okay? So, there is no access, as far as I'm concerned, for the public to really know what's going on. I think it would be appropriate that at town meeting, that this handout gets presented to the residents as they walk in the door, so they can actually see what's going on. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. And do you have a timeline for this project now? Is there a timeline?
I think I mentioned that I'm looking to complete it by the December break.
Is there a, on paper,
No.
can you come up with one? And present it to this board, this committee?
I couldn't, because like I said, Bay Path is working right now. They're gonna complete as much as they can before the school year is up, and then they're gonna have to come back in the fall and complete the project.
What about the general contractors?
The general contractor should be done. The only thing left would be the flooring, and that's kind of the last thing you do,
So the only thing left is all Bay Path work?
except for the flooring, yeah. I mean, we have people in there now, the windows and glasses, they're still working on the interior. I'm pretty sure the drywall is complete. They might have to finish up on just some higher up areas. And then just the data and security, that all has to be tied in with our alarm company. But other than that, that's it. Pretty much Bay Path.
So there will be, you'll have this available to the town residents
Have that
at
available.
town meeting?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
I'd also like to add the finance committee's approval when I hand this out, too.
Are we gonna have, they wanna add another $40,000. I would say that it has to be updated to the amount of money that Article 9 is gonna be asked for. This should show.
Well, my anticipation, frankly, was to come here tonight to get approval. But I understand now that you're not gonna do that.
No,
Through the chair,
if
can
there's a
I,
motion.
I mean, I thought the agenda said that you were gonna
Exactly.
review articles and submit your recommendation.
through the chair, in all fairness, Mr. Alvis, isn't the asbestos abatement an additional item that wasn't in the original estimates?
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it set back the project about 3 or 4 months, because we had to clear the whole entire area out.
So 30 of the 139 overage was
Asbestos abatement.
asbestos, so
Yeah.
the overage is 109 as opposed to,
Not really.
well, right, except for the items that are excluded. Now, the site work, was that also going to be done by Bay Path, if approved?
No,
No.
no.
I think you said DPW was going
You
to.
were gonna try to get the DPW, I've already contacted them, we need to move, we've got the dumpsters are like literally right in front of the front door. So we're finding a space to put the dumpsters in. Mr. Pizzetti has already agreed to help us out with that this summer.
Okay, any other discussion?
And this is signed, sealed, and delivered. Did we get an accountability of what it costs for each one of these items? And, I don't know, maybe we need to audit this thing. I mean, this is a never-ending battle. We don't have a time frame from it, as Mr. Dixon asked. This is just an open-ended book, quite frankly. You don't know when it's gonna end.
Do
And
you,
as time goes on,
It's
you
gonna-
keep saying that cost increases. So,
are you on record that if we move for $994,363.62, that you can move in?
Yes.
through the chair, I also, the government works in rounded dollars. 62 cents is kind of an embarrassment to ask.
All right.
Throw out to the people, so let's round this out at the whole dollars and make some sense out of it. put it to bed.
So, do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve $180,000 for the job completion, to include the site work
Through the
and
chair,
the entrances.
through the chair.
We have a motion. We have to see if it's seconded first, then we'll open for discussion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion?
I'd like to make another motion. Possible that we do not take any action on Article 9.
Second?
Okay. We have a motion and a second, not to take any action on this. Any discussion on that?
I just-
All in favor
Which one?
of the second motion? To take no action.
Aye.
Me,
No?
No.
No.
Now we're on to the first motion, to approve 180, what was it?
180,000
Any we had a motion, that was seconded, I believe?
Take a
Any
roll
dis-
call on this, Mr. Chairman?
Sure. Any discussion on this?
My only point of contention would be if they can do it for 140,000, why not do it for 140,000? I understand that there's additionals that they want. Those are wants, not not needs or necessities. Just throwing it out there as part of discussion.
I tend to agree with that. I think we're in a year where we're going to take out a lot of borrowing, and I think we have to hold the line at some point. If you're saying you can move in for the additional 139,564, I think that's good. Any other discussion on that?
Yeah, one last question, through Mr. Ambrose. Was the $854,800, was that borrowed?
Was it what?
Was it borrowed?
That was the motion on the town meeting floor.
The borrow?
Any other discussion?
I hope our library doesn't come in like that.
Now we have a motion to approve $139,564
That motion.
for Article 9. You made a
Yeah, a motion to approve 140,000 as a nice even number.
Okay. Anyone second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Take a roll call?
Sure.
Mr. Adamopoulos?
No.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Grierson?
No.
Mr. Dixon?
no.
Ms. Marsha?
Yes.
Ms. Henson?
Yes.
Mr. Gaylor?
Yes.
4 yes, 2 no.
Get this thing to bed, please. Very costly.
Good?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, thank you, members. It's always appreciated by the school department to go into the town meeting united, and once again, we will be. And I think that says a lot to our citizens as they, go in and question our articles.
To be fair to everyone, though, I think we need to be more diligent in our early groundwork in the future.
Well, let's hope we don't have to deal with this again for a
Well-
long time.
Thank you.
Do you need me for the budget at all?
Just your checkbook.
No, we're we're all set.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we
Stop passing the stuff around.
spent all this. No, we were just talking about that, so. Let's go back over the warrant articles. With the annual, I believe last time we recommended for Article 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 Is that what everybody's got?
Is the annual?
Annual, yes.
So do you want to cover number Article 7 real quick?
Yeah.
So Article 7 is to rescind Article 10, the October 16th town meeting. So that was the article that was going to appropriate raises for the water and sewer departments, but it was coming only from the water department, which cannot be done. It has to be separated funds because they're two separate enterprise funds. So that's being rescinded. We don't need to adjust it at all because within those two enterprise funds
That was
enough money
sufficient.
to cover the proposed, well, the salary increases.
Yeah.
Through the chair. I know Mr. Willison wasn't here. But at that town meeting, if you recall, I got up and told the get through town administrator, you cannot do that. Yes, I can. You recall? Yes, I can. Well, I'm not trying to say I know it all, but you can't, enterprise accounts, you can't take from one to pay the other. And now we're gonna make it good, so, okay, end of the story.
That will resolve that issue,
And I do think she did acknowledge that at some, not at the meeting, and not shortly thereatafter.
Doesn't
but-
matter, at the
but
meeting, she
some
said,
point,
yes,
yeah.
I can.
Right. Okay. Do we want to recommend approval for Article 7 based on that information?
Yes.
Need a
I
motion?
make the motion that we approve Article 7 as written.
Second.
Any other
Chair.
discussion? Yeah.
Was a motion made to pass over for more information at a previous meeting?
Additional info we asked for, yeah.
Was there a motion?
Yes,
Pass over, I'm asking.
I don't know.
yes.
If there was, then I think the appropriate procedure protocol is that you rescind the pass over for more information and then go into the
Okay.
positive part.
Okay,
That's what I think.
okay.
Maybe I can
I
refer
think it
to-
was our intent to just not look at it, not address it that night. But if it got already moved in the minutes, and
Yeah, yeah,
we were taking votes,
Yeah.
so.
okay,
Through the chair, remember last year?
Yeah.
You got your
Yeah.
whoopee.
yeah.
I'll make a motion that we rescind the Passover for more information.
Second.
just like the voice from.
Any discussion? Yeah, I know. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Very surprised with your voice.
Now, the motion to,
I make a motion that we recommend Article 7 as written.
Second.
any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article 8, we recommended. Article 9, Passover. Oh, that's the one we just talked about. Yeah.
Do we need to rescind that vote as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we rescind the Article 9 Passover for more information from our prior meeting.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So do we have to remake the motion for the money that we just
No,
approved?
you already made that.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, Article 10,
Yeah, so if you recall, this is to provide power to the new library. So the current power is accessible through Negus Street. So actually, a little change of, well, information. So the Satowski School property is actually not owned by the town. I thought we were leasing it to them. We're not. It's under a different ownership. So the portion from Negus Street to the town property, I've talked to them. They're willing to grant us an easement, so
Oh, okay.
that's no problem. So the only easement will be from the line, the property line to where the transformer will be on the town property. So the new motion will be, I'll just read it to you. says, I move that the town vote to grant a permanent easement to National Grid, its nominee or assignee in, on, and over the Webster Library property being tax map, the building blanks, lot blank, for the purpose of supplying electricity for said property in the location as shown on the sketch plan filed with the town clerk. It is filed with the clerk. And on such further terms and conditions as the Board of Selectmen deems necessary and proper.
Is that in the guide that you read?
It will be tomorrow.
It will be tomorrow.
So I just got that from the attorney.
Okay. Based on that information, well, let's rescind it first and revote. So motion to rescind.
I make a motion that we rescind our previous meeting, pass over for more information for Article 10.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So do we want to make a motion
I'll make a motion that we accept Article 10 as written.
Well,
and amended?
as,
Yeah. As read, maybe.
As read, yeah.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I think that was it.
So there was one on the special.
Through the chair?
Yeah,
Again, I missed the last couple
Yeah.
of meetings.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to give the time, but on Article 11 on the annual, listening to a replay of the selectmen's meeting, I believe the town administrator told the selectmen that the Armory building is not insured whatsoever right now, correct?
So it's still currently insured, but they're asking us to switch it. They gave us like a 60-day notice.
Okay, 60 days is not going to have a museum in there.
Yeah, no, so I am going to purchase a insurance for the interim period between, for however long we are in control of the property.
But didn't you quote something like an outrageous amount of money?
Yeah, it was
So
gonna
is
be
that-
like $23,000. Yeah, so I'm negotiating with our insurance agent, saying, well, we don't, nothing in that building we need to keep, so, except for a couple of things that are already on the insurance list. So negotiating that down and, taking the actual listed property value of the building and reducing that, so it'll be a
Where
lower
are we going to
price.
get the money for the premium?
So we have money in this year's budget. If you recall, the general liability insurance was rebid and went with Maya for effective July 1st, 2016. So that rate was lower than what the original budget was. So we have a little bit of money there.
How much was the difference?
It's like, I think it was $49,000.
You didn't use that in any of the other parts of the budget?
Not yet.
So we're going to spend $22,000 to have someone come in and lease the place for a museum, right?
It won't be 22,000, it'll be less. But, I mean, we need to insure it, so.
and that's just during the interim period.
So that's for a year.
Oh.
If we
Change.
drop it, we can get a credit.
Thank you.
Do you think that will happen within a year?
It's
gotta
hard to
go through the
say
state,
because
right?
Yeah, the state's gonna have to approve our petition in Article 12, which, you know, it's the state.
In Article 13, I'm sorry, just, we have a figure of 810,000, is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, that's been confirmed with the engineer and the water superintendent.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, what was that again?
Article 13,
The annual?
yes.
Yes.
Actually, so we met, was that yesterday, Neil?
I don't think we
Yes.
voted on
Last
Article
night.
13, did we?
it says we did.
No, we did, okay.
So, I might slightly amend the motion to make it very clear that this is gonna be paid for from the water enterprise fund and not from the general fund. But I think that was obvious in our discussion, so.
Through the chair, how many feet or lineal feet from Thompson Road to that building?
I think it was it 1,500?
Yeah.
Yeah.
$810,000 for 1,600 feet of construction? I know it's materials too.
Yeah.
It's a bigger pipe too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 16-inch main, so.
Somebody's making some good money.
Well, I think it's probably has a healthy contingency, so we don't have to come back and ask for more money.
Well. Thank you.
Now, this pipe is gonna go all the way from
Yeah,
Memorial Beach all the way up to Park Road, correct?
Park
The
Road.
water tank up in Park Road, okay?
Yeah, on Thompson Road from Memorial Drive to Park Road, because there already is a main from Park Road, to the actual tank.
It says Thompson Road, it doesn't say Park Road.
Yeah, so the main's all on Thompson Road, but starting at the Memorial Beach Drive to Park Road. We'll, I'll have a pretty map for town meeting.
Okay, that finishes annual. Let's move on to special. I believe we okayed Articles 1, 2, 3, and 4.
On Article 23.
I'm sorry?
23, I thought we had 1 7. Or, no, 23, you're right, the snow and ice, yeah. Yeah, okay, so I'll admit, I don't remember what the issue was on this one, so.
Wait, which article are we talking?
23 in the special, the snow and ice deficit.
Oh, I was on 5 and 6.
I think the question was, where the funds were gonna come from,
What article?
Yeah,
23?
right. So, yeah, so if you look under Articles 6 through 22, I listed all the places that I expect that we're going to need money to balance the budget. And then I also, the next table shows areas where we currently show a surplus. Most of those are due to positions being vacant for a portion of the year.
Through the chair, that money is put on the recap sheet if we're in excess, correct? If that's appropriated before anything else.
Yeah, that's correct. So it would go on the recap, but we still have to remain within the Proposition 2.5 limit. So the FY18 proposed budget is already using the full levy limit. So if we cannot fund all of it within the 17 operating budget, we'll have to reduce the 18 operating budget at the October town meeting. Or use free cash that has been certified and adjusted at the October town meeting.
So we
Which is probably going to happen for a portion of this. And if you look on page 8, I'm estimating that we're going to need about $388,000. And if you look on page 9, I have identified $205,000. You're looking at, I think you have the old version, because
You see, I just got this today.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, the one I handed out today, it's on page 8 and page 9.
Page what again, please?
Page 8?
Article 622.
Yeah, so, I had the original articles that had been proposed. Some of those have been adjusted by journal entries, so we actually don't have deficits in those accounts, so that's not a problem. But there are a few that still will have a deficit. The big two are Article 23, the snow and ice, and the other one, debt principal. So this is, in the FY16 budget, there were debt pay downs that were paid that weren't actually budgeted for, so we need to adjust that and compensate for that.
What does that total?
That's $159,100.
Why wasn't it done? That was before Doug, right?
What's that?
BD, before Doug. Okay.
Yeah, we,
We know, I know the answer before I ask the question, and we all do, so, anyway, let's move on.
so there's $388,000 identified in needs, 205 available. So likely the $159,000 in debt pay down is not going to be able to be funded within the 17 budget. So that I'm going to, at the October town meeting, request to adjust the budget by increasing it by probably $159,000 with free cash, and then we're going to pay for that within the 18 budget, the adjusted 18 budget.
And you fully expect to have free cash by October?
Yes.
Didn't I hear you tell the selectmen that we have to have the fiscal year 16 audit completed before we turn in our request for certification of free cash?
They're not directly tied. We're going to have that FY16 audit done before.
And didn't the state suggest that we do not have, contract the auditors that we've had up to fiscal year?
They
15?
recommended a change, yes.
So, where are we at that, if I may ask? If it's in the, if it's in order.
Yep. I talked to a new auditor today. He's sending me over a proposal. I should have it tomorrow.
Someone who does municipalities?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
on the, I guess it's in the form of a budget, but I've asked town administrator.
Oh, can we finish the articles
Oh, I'm
first?
sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought that was it.
no, no.
I'm sorry,
okay.
5,000 pardons.
Okay.
See what happens when you miss 2 meetings? Yeah?
So Article 23. Oh, I'm sorry. That's,
No, it is 23.
yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to recommend, change your vote and recommend to pass over, that's what I'm recommending
You mean change it from pass over for more information to just pass over?
you do. Yeah.
Motion to rescind. For more information?
Second.
Oh, any discussion? All
What
in
is the
favor?
amount? of
I'm
money
sorry?
again? What is the amount of money again we're gonna be asked for?
100,
155, 969,
155,
969.
969.
any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we need a motion to pass over.
I make a motion to pass over.
Someone
Second
want a
it.
second? Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Oh, here it is. So,
So we're all set.
Mr. Chair,
Now, Mr. Race.
maybe it'll be a clarification for everyone. When we contracted with, the town did, to the town administrator at that time, contracted for the solar farm at the old landfill, or dump, whatever you want to call it. We were going to be, from that one project, the agreement was, as I understand it, payment in lieu of taxes, which is pilot, we were going to get $50,000 a year. At that time, the town administrator says, town hall needs some repairs and this and that, nobody can argue with that. We're gonna put all that money into that account, but we have to go to town meeting every year to do that. We did that, I believe, 1 year.
Yeah, so we did it, I think you did it last year in May, and we're doing it again
We
this May.
didn't do it last year.
Yes, we did. Pretty sure we did.
No, we do it in October.
Oh, wait, that's when the company sort of,
We do not get the payment.
Huh?
So,
no, I thought we got the payment and legal fees last August-ish.
Yeah, so they,
well,
yeah, so-
anyway, what I want to establish is, we had at least $50,000 in that account from year one.
yeah,
As I know it, we didn't do it again. Now, as you explained to me in an email, in financial committee's interest, you had said you were going to use it for fiscal year 18 operating budget, but not for 17.
yeah,
Okay.
yes.
So my question is, how much money did we get in total?
Yeah, okay, so, good question, we would clarify all this. So, we got, actually, the first year we got $60,000. We're actually supposed to get 55,000, so they overpaid us the first year, and this year we only got 50. Not that that matters that much, but that's what happened. There's already 60,000 in the town hall stabilization fund. So in this May, on Monday, we're gonna put an additional 50,000 into it, so we'll put it at $110,000. Next year, rather than having that money available to transfer into the stabilization fund, I use that money to balance the actual operating budget. So it won't be available to transfer into that fund. So we'll only have $110,000 to upgrade this building.
Through the chair, we're gonna have to vote that, correct?
Which part? Putting the
Put it
50,000
in.
into the stabilization fund? Yep, that's an article
It's in,
to do that.
We can't use that for fiscal 18 operating budget? Could it have been used, let me put it this way, could it have been used for fiscal 18 operating budget?
No, it couldn't be used it came in fiscal year 17,
When did it come in?
like November, something like that.
And when did we get the last one?
That I would have to look up, I don't know.
Now, again, in the detail that you had given us initially, you had mentioned 3 different projects, pilot projects, I believe.
Yeah, so
That's what you were getting, you know, the Hubbard one up there, this one over here.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
did not have any kind of, you did not have a $50,000 figure for this one up here.
Yep,
So I don't
so,
think all 3 came to $50,000. I'll have to find it, but I don't, at
Yeah,
that
right.
time, so things have changed?
yeah, so, I don't know how many of you have the actual budget document with you. So, it's actually not the pilot that money is going into, it's the lease for the landfill property. So it's going into the rentals,
right.
which is on page 16. So if you notice, in the rentals, under FY 16 actual, it has $84,000. So that's the first year that we started getting that $50,000 payment for putting the solar on the landfill. I don't have 17 on the actual because 17 revenue is weird because it comes in all over the place, so I didn't put it on there. So the 18 budget, I'm projecting we're gonna have $92,000 coming in. 55,000 of that is from the lease for the solar being on our landfill.
And the others, there are 2 others, correct? The Hubbard.
Yeah, so those are actual pilots. We get pilot payments for that. So on that landfill property, we get a pilot, plus we get the lease agreement. The lease
Well,
payment.
you said it wasn't a pilot, now you say it is.
Yeah. We get 2 payments for having the solar field there. We get a pilot, and we get $55,000.
Right, 'cause the pilot is payment in lieu of taxes, we
Yep.
don't get a tax bill.
Yeah.
So what is the pilot and what is the rental? Do you have that breakdown?
So the rental's 55,000, the pilot, I can look up, it's like 10,000.
Is that totally up and running now?
It is, yeah, it's been operational since January, maybe even end of December.
Is that the amount on page 15, pilot 4180?
Yeah, so that's a couple pilots though. That's a pilot at Harrington, it's a pilot at that one. If I look on page 24, we have a solar pilot for Hubbard Health Systems for $13,420. We had a pilot on our solar field on the landfill for $10,980. And then we have another pilot for $50,000 for the marijuana grow facility that FY18 is gonna be the first year that we receive that.
Is that up and running?
It's very close. I don't think they're operational.
All right. Let's go on to the bonded indebtedness that Sarah and Doug has been working on. I know that, you know, it's been in flux. We had the 2016 figures from the state. I'm sorry, we had the 2015 figures from the state as our starting base for an audited report. And just earlier this week, Doug got the 2016 figures for indebtedness. And Sarah's been trying to work with Doug to build upon that, to bring us up to date with indebtedness we've taken on since the state approved.
So what we have to do as a finance committee is give a figure for the town's bonded indebtedness. And the initial figure we came up with was a grand total of 35 million. But then we went to the state website at the end of 2016. You can see that it says that the total long-term debt is $40,250,173. So that led us back to the schedules that we were looking at to see why there was a difference. And based on the schedules, it appears that we have one source of loan pay downs that's was not part of the schedules that we were working on, which were the ones that we've seen before, that we've gotten, these schedules, so they don't have the whole picture. And then there was also one new FY16 bond issuance that wasn't on the, I believe it's water schedule. So once we added those two in, we tied right out to the state schedule. So now we're looking to, so the number that we're going to report is the figure from the state website.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah,
40,250.
Yeah.
40 million.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's been reported, and actually, the 17th's gonna change this month, so
Right.
we might as well just stick
Okay.
with the 16 number,
Yeah.
what was reported in.
And we're still within the 5% debt limit.
Yeah.
And we're gonna check, but we think that the authorized and unissued debt also counts towards that.
Yeah, I'm gonna contact the financial advisor.
You mean the 75 million?
Correct.
Yeah, so we'd be at the 5%.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So we don't-
since it hasn't been issued, we'll have to ask the
We'll
financial
have to ask the
advisor.
question, because you look at the schedule, which is barely readable,
Yeah, it's tiny.
that you sent us, for the 2016, in fact, the Bartlett school renovation of $850 was not borrowed yet. And so it must have been taken out this year, or,
The 850, we're doing that long-term in May, yeah.
oh, you're doing it in May?
Yeah.
So it's happening now.
Yeah.
So that is part of that 34.
Yeah, so yeah, but especially when you build school buildings, you have to authorize the entire amount, even though you're only gonna borrow a portion of it, because part of it's getting reimbursed. So that's why we have a whole bunch that's authorized but unissued. So as soon as that project's officially closed, we can unauthorize that amount, and that number will drop.
Because it does look like there's one early on that's fairly large, looks like sewer. But it's hard to tell from this schedule.
Yeah.
Maybe they can help us out and give us some new schedules.
So based on what you find out, whether we have to go with the unauthorized combination, it'll either be the 40 million or the 75 million that we report.
Yeah, I think it's, because the state only had the 40
Right.
number, I think that's what the actual number is.
Okay, but you'll let us.
Yeah.
Has this been done before in the past?
I'm sorry?
Has the finance committee reported indebtedness before? It's in the bylaws, that's why,
No,
okay.
no.
So this is,
Those bylaws are
Yeah,
kind
who
of just
pays attention,
guidelines, you know.
If you had, excuse me, through the chair, if you have the detail in the budget, principal and interest,
yeah,
that's what's gonna be on the books, correct?
But that's just,
Just 1 year, yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, 1 year, of course, 1 year.
but
yeah.
it doesn't tell us what our total indebtedness is.
For 1 year?
I don't know, for
Because
everything that's
you don't know
all our
what's been
future
issued.
payments.
that hasn't fallen off yet, I mean, it's,
Yeah, I mean, we borrow for at least 20 years for a school, right?
Yeah, you're right, right, so we may only have paid 6 years of it, and we still have 14 years left. to
And
pay.
we only got till 2018 here.
oh,
Well,
yeah,
that's
but
all I printed.
it goes,
Okay.
it
No,
goes
no, I'm
up.
not faulting anything, I'm just saying, you said,
Joe,
the
you couldn't
future,
even
though.
read that number you said. So, one thing I wanted Joe to talk to us about, since you have so much town experience, is on these schedules here, if you look back, it's the packet that begins like this.
what does it say? Oh, inside that and outside that?
Yes, please.
In real life, I get paid for this. So I'll refer to Mr. Williamson on this subject, then, please.
Okay. So what they refer to here is long-term debt outstanding as of the end of the years inside the debt limit. So what exactly does that?
Inside and out, of the
Yeah.
debt limit, yeah.
Right, so inside and outside.
I'm just looking
Inside,
at this as an educational thing.
Yeah.
yep, yeah, so the debt exclusion, if something is voted as a debt exclusion, it's outside of the levy limit. So, as you know, we are allowed to go up 2.5%, plus new growth, plus any debt exclusions. So for the Park Ave school, the town voted to debt exclude that. So that is built on top of the current property taxes. It's added on top of the levy, not within the levy.
So it's
So-
almost
If
like
that
an
makes sense.
override without having to happen?
Yeah, it is, a debt exclusion is an override.
Okay.
There's operational overrides and there's debt exclusion overrides.
Thanks, I was wondering the same thing.
But yeah, so the only thing with debt exclusions is they stop when the project's done. Operational overrides last forever, or until they're unvoted.
Through the chair, on this first page, it says long-term debt outside the debt limit, net of MCWT subsidies. Third line down says, new issue 2/11/16 MCWT DWP/13/15/A. What the hell is that? Can't you just put it in plain English that it's a water project, it's not you, but anybody? You know, this is,
It came
Almost.
off of the state schedule.
I understand. But somebody gonna go to town meeting and look at this thing and say, oh yeah, sure, I understand it.
That's why
I don't
people like
understand.
yourself get paid the big
That's
bucks to do
why
this
it's
stuff.
difficult to time these
Yeah, I
out.
thought it was a Star Wars character.
I'll pay you if you tell me what it is. Is it water, sewer?
I thought it was water, so I
May the
put it
fourth
in the water.
commit you.
It's gotta be water or sewer, because they all start with that MCWT, whatever thing, and, oh my God. You know, just do the normal
Yeah,
Joe
so
Blow terminology in
it's
English.
Massachusetts Clean Water Trust or something like that.
Okay. Well, that's helpful to know.
Mhm. Okay. And last on the item was the final preparation for the Finance Committee Town Meeting Report. I didn't make copies of it tonight, but,
This one?
Yeah, it's in the packet with.
yeah, it's in the packet.
With the, we'll adjust these numbers to put the 16
Can we
in,
adjust
as
the,
of 6/30/16.
can we adjust the date too?
The what?
The date?
The date?
Yeah, it says 10/17, top of the
Oh,
page.
oh, yeah,
May
That's
8th.
Yeah, 10/17,
Where is it?
at the very top on that report,
Which one?
Oh,
This
instead of
one?
2017.
1,000 years ago.
Yeah, what the heck? Thanks. Those figures wouldn't have been that high. Any other business?
To the chair?
Yeah?
Speaking of the town meeting on Monday, I spoke with the moderator at the election, and he said that we're going to have equipment set up to vote
Electronically, yes.
None of that's been well, wait a minute, I didn't go to, yes I did, I went to the Webster's website, and all there is meeting notices.
Mhm.
I didn't go to any different department, but nothing's been publicized about, hey, come on and see this new thing that Webster has, okay? Where you don't have to raise your hand, where somebody's watching over you to see how you voted or didn't vote or stuff like that. I think it's a very positive step for the town of Webster. And, you know, I hope we have a good turnout. The moderator says he's requesting or ordering, however the procedure goes, 200.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I hope we can get that.
Yeah.
Then we'll have more in attendance than on one side than the other side. But electronically, you know.
I think it's a
Some
time
company's gonna set
saver
that
too.
up.
It's, instead of counting for each vote and tallying it up and taking minutes to do that, it's gonna be instantaneous, pretty much within seconds from minutes. So I think there's a lot of good reasons. I think it's been somewhat advertised in some places, because there are people that are very interested in it, and I think has called the town hall to show their enthusiasm.
Well, they have it right here with the
Yeah, yeah.
demonstration.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, so some people are aware of it. He should promote it more. I think he did say something on the town.
Would the
Website.
chairman care to do the Webster Forum?
I don't go on the forum.
Yes, you do.
I stopped, I should
Oh, well,
say.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
I think it's
So
already,
I can-
it's already on there.
I'll put it on the town Facebook page, and that usually gets picked up and put on the forum, I'm told.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, huh? I didn't put it on
Oh,
the
great.
agenda. I didn't think she had it ready.
What's that?
Motion to adjourn unless,
Second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Good. See you Monday.